Digital coats of paint. Today, everyone, what we wanted to do is kind of revisit something we did a few months ago, which is talk about some sales successes so far for Q3. Talk of maybe an open discussion on some current obstacles you might be running into, and maybe some things that, Brett and I or the team could help, you with, and also just an open discussion and questions. So any burning questions you might have that you've held off on asking, today is the day. So kicking things off, if I can get there we go. So we're going to start again with some success stories from Q3. And again, these are not by far all of the successes. We've had some really good sales. We just thought this was a good opportunity to highlight a couple, just things that have happened that were really good and that we felt like we're something that we're showcasing. But again, this is not, discounting anyone else's awesome sales. We think this is, just a great effort from everyone out there, and these are just a couple that have come up. So we're going to start off with, we're going to talk with Joanne, who is one of our newest folks here on the team at O&E, and wanted to talk about a couple email blast successes she had, which is just, a great effort from her after just joining the team, the last couple weeks. Then we're going to go back to Livingston, and we're going to talk about the complete battery source, the search retargeting campaign that Dean and Brett put together, and talk about some of the results. They've gotten some results back from just 1 week of the ads running, and they're very positive. So we thought it'd be great to share that with the teams. Again, current obstacles, anything you're running into that you want to discuss or get some advice on, we're going to leave that open, and then maybe some open discussion and questions at the end. Sound good? Brett?
Yep. Sounds good.
All right, away we go. So Musica and Geiger Ballet are two email blasts that have run basically in the last 2 weeks. I should say Geiger Ballet has run. Musica has closed. We are working on getting it to run in the next few weeks. So right now we're gathering. So it's a sales success. It just hasn't run yet. And so I kind of want to get Joanne to just talk a little bit briefly. Again, she's the newest member of our team. She's been making some great effort in getting appointments out there. And these two are both similar veins in terms of event based, and they're, one's a dance recital and trying to, build a little business towards, getting people to join Geiger Ballet for classes. The other one for Musica is an actual concert event. So Joanne, if you can unmute yourself and maybe share with the team here how you went about finding these couple prospects and some things that we talked about. I can pitch in as well because I know that we sat in together on conference call for Musica, and I can share some of the things that were brought up and why email blast was a good choice. So can you hear us okay, Joanne?
I can.
Awesome. So can you tell us just a little bit about maybe just briefly Geiger Ballet, like how you came across that? I know that you told me the story, but maybe we can share it, and then Musica as well, and maybe just the process that you went through.
Well, Geiger Ballet, I'm fortunate enough to have had a relationship with her from some previous media companies that I've worked with over the last 6-7 years. So we had an existing relationship. I know that the fall is the open enrollment time for dance studios, and so she was not somebody that had previously worked with us and or been contacted. So I reached out to her and set up a meeting, and unlike some others that may be a little bit more difficult because of that to get, that relationship really helped me quite a bit. So she took the meeting. Kelly and I went to meet with her together, and she had actually advertised in the West Bloomfield paper when it existed, and the Farmington paper many years ago, and had been up until most recently in the Bloomfield Hills area. So my approaching her was timely. She moved back to her West Bloomfield location about a little less than a year ago. And we met and talked a little bit. She wasn't as game to do something in the print as she was to look at some other opportunities. So we discussed the possibility of doing an email blast to reach out to a database of prospective targeted people that she may not already be getting on her own. And that's what we did.
Terrific. So. Terrific. And then, so I know with that one, there was, a bit of a quick turnaround time. I know that, the event was coming up quickly and that you pushed, pretty quickly. We were able to get it in and the ad run successfully. And if I can share the results, I mean, it had a really decent open rate and click-through rate. In fact, the open rate superseded the, or I should say, went over the expectation. It was almost 14% open rate, and we had a 1.78% click-through rate, which again was above what the expectation was coming from Geo. So realistically, this was a very successful run, for this particular client. And now, if you want to just talk real briefly about Pro Musica as well, again, I know these are both kind of in the arts world, so just a real brief overview of Pro Musica. I know that you'd mentioned that this is kind of a new thing for them.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. Pro Musica has primarily been doing radio and a little bit of print with us, I believe, in the past, but they have not done anything in the digital arena at all, so it's very new for them. Again, a similar situation in that they're trying to, what they do is they have a series of concerts that are held downtown at the, I think it's the DSO, and they're trying to reach out to a classical audience, but a younger classical audience. So, and having a very limited budget to do so. So we talked about the possibility, again, of doing an email blast to reach that younger demographic who we all know is on their phones like we are and accessing everything mobilely and digitally. So she's very excited. It's going to be running in about a week and hoping for really great results. So,
wonderful. Well, if I can add, what I think really helped her to make some decisions was that when we did the audit, we were able to really do some very specific targets that were very desirable to her. We were able to target a audience that was interested in classical music, which was her demographic for sure. But we were also looking at, people who were kind of in a luxury living situation, someone who might, have some interest in the finer arts, the finer things. And realistically, even the budget she kind of passed along to us, what the final results in terms of numbers that came back from the audit, we were able to get her to run with that number, which actually she spent probably about $600 more than the budget that she gave us originally. So, really a good success, and Joanne did a great job putting that meeting together, and it was a concerted effort. We worked together to kind of get her interested, and Joanne did a great job sealing the deal. So anything else you want to add on that, Joanne, that you feel you can share with the team?
The only thing I can tell you is, like anything new, new job, new anything, there is a learning curve. What I can really share is that the timing of putting it together, both of them, but mostly with Geiger, is letting your client, making sure you're managing your client's expectations in terms of how fast these things actually happen. Mm-hmm. We tell them, 8 to 10 working days is what it takes to potentially do an email blast, but you really do need to allow, in my opinion, at least another week, because you've got to allow for the time to get the agreement signed, get somebody assigned to you once you have the agreement in place at the digital end, get the artwork back from your client, get all the processes in motion before actually anything starts. So, and to be safe, I would tell you 3 weeks.
Well, that's a bit, it's a bit long, but I think I can see what you're saying. I think in this case, it's just making sure we're building in enough cushion to really have the ad be all that it can be. We wanted to make sure the conversion goes smoothly, that the ad copy is correct, that everything in the bits and pieces are all in place. And so it's just, if it's something when you're meeting with a client, I guess, and they're like, we've got this big event next week, we're looking at email blast. Time-wise, it may not be a realistic option, just depending upon, what there is in place. So that's a good point. I mean, with Geiger, I know it was kind of a learning curve. I know with Musica, you were awesome in terms of setting up that expectation. It will take this long, and this is the date I would need all this material. So that really was a good advice to give to the customer, and I think it helps them as well. So they're not feeling like we're just kind of winging it. So, well, thanks for sharing that, Joanne. I really appreciate it. And, team, if you have any questions, I'm sure Joanne would be happy to say hello and help you out with that. And Brett, I'm going to turn it over to you and Dean.
Okay. Well, I think everyone knows at this point kind of our talk about search retargeting, and our first client that we had this test run with. And talk about learning curves. You guys were talking about learning curves. I mean, this was a huge learning curve, and we literally had to whack our way through the woods and create a new path because a lot of our team on our end had not yet had the experience with search retargeting. So, we kind of knew that going in, but now we know the full extent of, what this actually is going to take and how long this is going to take. So we're saying around a three week minimum at least for search retargeting implementation, development, and then actually getting a campaign to go live. That's not actually getting a report to come back. We'd say about at least 4 to 5 weeks for a report from initial contract. But with search retargeting and the complete, we had a client from the complete battery store or complete battery source. So with that campaign, I think everyone has kind of had a little bit of history. We had 3 different creatives with under one campaign. The first creative was going to be more of a general overview on batteries. The second campaign for the creative is going to be more towards auto, marina, and power sports. The third campaign was going to be the keywords we pulled for brands and specific battery types. So we had those 3 different campaigns. We split them up. The first campaign was going to have a portion of more of a lot of the impressions in the budget, and the other 2 campaigns were going to be not as much impressions and budget spend, and that was just per the client's request. We had a total of around 240K impressions on Media Mass Network and that's going to be over a period of 3 months. And we're already, since August 31st, we've been running the campaign, and we've gotten some reports back. Yep.
I just moved forward one. There you go, Brett.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I am actually looking on my screen.
Here, I'm going to give you control then. Just a minute. Let me stop presenting.
No,
and you
that's
can take
fine.
over
Just
there.
leave it. No, that's good. No, just go back to your. That's fine.
Just a second.
I think you updated everything on yours, so I might not have the full updated version.
Just a minute.
So with the first campaign, we've had some pretty good numbers. The first campaign is going to be the best performing. Actually, no, I think it's the third campaign, but the second campaign performed less from all of them. So we're going to take a look at them here in a second. So the first campaign, so this is from August 31st to September 7th. The impressions, campaign 1, general keywords for keywords related to batteries. Impressions is 19,105. We had 53 clicks, so the click-through rate's 28%. So I asked our ad ops, and everyone is using Jeannie Tafoya. She's our ad ops personnel, that's going to be submitting all this information. We're talking to Media Math, helping us put the logistics together for search retargeting. I asked her about the normal range or just the expected average that we see with search retargeting, and this is literally what she told us. It's different for each campaign, but we like to see it in the normal range of 0.03 to 0.07, and so we're way above this on this first campaign here. That is really good. I mean, considering the fact that our local.com, the click-through rates that we get on that, if they're above those numbers, that's good. But keep in mind, when we're doing search retargeting, this is a very specific ad going to a searcher who's performed a web search, who has been interested or has had an interest in a particular keyword, and now that ad is showing up for because of that search. So those are highly qualified click-throughs, highly qualified clicks that we're bringing traffic to from this site. Unlike just regular local.com, which is kind of just arbitrary traffic. Where somebody might see that and say, yeah, I'm interested in that, and maybe do some more research. Well, this person has already technically searched for something online and now getting an ad after the fact. So it's a little bit later in the buying cycle and a consumer's path for this type of display. So that's really good. Campaign 2 was the auto and power sport related keywords. So that's, again, this is very early in the campaign. So it came off August 31st and to September 7th. This is the report for that one. 2,855. We've had 12 clicks and a 42%. So actually, this is the best. I believe the best performing one as far as click-through rate. And then campaign 3 was the brand names and specific battery types. So the impressions we've had there are 2,066, and then 3 clicks with a click-through rate of 15%. But we are
actually, Brett, I'm sorry to interrupt. It's actually 0.1. It's 0.15%. So it's not quite the full 15%. It's smaller than 1%, but it's still above that national average. I'm sorry to interrupt there.
Yeah, that's sorry. Thanks for correcting me. No, yeah, 0.1.
Sorry,
15%. I didn't mean to say 15%. Yeah. So yes, but that's better than 0.05 or 0.03 or 0.07. So these are all at least 0.1. So that's above the average there that we'd typically be seeing. So they're very, not only is the click-through rate good, but you also have that highly targeted clicks, that click-through rate, those highly targeted qualified leads coming in as traffic. So again, this is just the first week. We have 3 more months. So we'd like to see what the second week looks like, the third, fourth, and then what it really looks like in the second month going in, and then kind of give an average after this whole campaign is done as far as how many impressions and how many click-throughs. And the good thing about this is that we did put that conversion pixel in for each one of these URLs. So our client is is a lot more technically adept than most clients out there. He has Google Analytics. He's monitoring his Google Analytics. That's another thing that we're kind of going to talk about today. What we kind of ran into as this campaign launched at first, that maybe you guys might need to be aware of. Basically what would have happened is that we were getting some outside traffic. We needed to know how to address it. Right as the campaign had launched, there was traffic coming from from New York, and that's where a lot of Media Math traffic can originate from, since they are a New York company, but they were not related to that. We just asked Jeannie some questions about the traffic. Then we got back and answered the client immediately as soon as possible. And without getting in too much depth about it, basically we had just found the answer. And if just as in the future reference, if anyone is going to run a search campaign, a search retargeting campaign, and within the first couple weeks or days you start getting some outside traffic from a landing page that you're directing that traffic to, just check with Jeannie and say, is this a link coming from our campaign? Is this traffic coming from our campaign? And if usually that's not going to happen, our client just ends up being more savvy than a lot of people that are out there. But if you ever do have a question, you can reach out to Scott or I about that. If your client starts to contact you about that. But Dean, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Yeah, we were just gonna kind of talk, like how Joanne and Scott did about the battery store. Kind of, I know we had gone. This is kind of like a dead horse at this point, but just kind of going over some of, what was the selling points on search retargeting, and maybe some of the complications that we addressed. But more or less, just kind of giving an overall at this point where we're at with. From the first development to now getting the first week of traffic. And I know that, Dean, you had just seen this traffic reports coming in, but these are actually pretty good numbers. For the first week especially, these are pretty good numbers. And we haven't really fully talked about the numbers yet, one-on-one, but just getting that report back from Jeannie saying that 0.3 to 0.7 is where they'd like to see them at, and we're getting, 3 or 4 times that at the minimum, is a good positive sign, even though it did take us a moment to get to this point. So, just, I don't know, Dean, any of your thoughts on the whole campaign, how it came together, what people might need to be aware of? Not to try to scare people away from search retargeting, but know that it is powerful, because I know you're passionate about it, Dean. There are a lot of people out there that I think would like to sell it. I know we have people that would like to sell it, but it seems like it's too daunting and it can be too complicated to try to go out there and actually, start implementing it or even talk to a client about it. What are some of the key things, I guess, are selling points that you can talk to a client about for search retargeting that just makes them light up immediately? When, especially maybe with Robert and how you sold on search retargeting, or any of the other clients, AccuTemp and the Amish furniture store. What would be your suggestions on how someone could easily convey that the selling points for search retargeting, Dean?
Well, I think the one of the main factors that I always use, and it seems to be effective, is it differs. A lot of the people that are a little bit more digitally adept as far as the owners or the media buyers out there, everybody's kind of heard of site retargeting, which is, they go to their website and then whoever goes to that company's website, they send back a marketing to them, some kind of marketing effort to them, and that's called a site retarget, which most people have heard of. And Brett and I, Brett, you and I ran into a situation here where we had, with the battery store, a proposal that came in from CBS out of Detroit that he forwarded to me, and that's how this whole search retargeting came into effect. That they were, one other company that we know of was offering this right away. So we kind of looked into it and went from there. And like Brett was saying, just getting this campaign out of the weeds was tricky to do. But now that it's done, probably the one line that I use most often is you're getting your product in front of the person right when they are looking for the product in real time. So it's a little bit different than a site retarget where somebody literally has to go to that website before they get marketed back. This is when somebody actually Googles the product that the client offers, and you're literally going to get hit with ads in real time immediately after a Google search has happened. So the keyword search is critical in a campaign like this, to have the proper keyword search and the analytics in place before it happens. Knowing that and saying that is, when a store owner or a media buyer hears something like that their product's going to be right in front of that person right when they are searching for it, is critical. And it really, if you highlight them, if you make the person stop and literally go, listen to what I just said, your product will be right in front of that person right when he is searching for it within, it literally could happen seconds or minutes after. So the effectiveness of a search retargeting or a remarketing campaign can really be effective, because it's only going to the people who are searching for the product. So anybody who hears that, their eyes immediately just light up like, wow, that's pretty powerful stuff, and it is. So that's how it all came about with that. I know a couple weeks ago we had a little presentation there where Brett and Scott were going over how to book this type of campaign and, you know, what it took and so forth. But Brett, you and I both know we went through the weeds for weeks on this thing, but now that it's in effect and put into place and it's already performing, it isn't that difficult, guys. I know it looked like it, but we got the whole process down to a lot more workable procedure at this point. So it's not so scary anymore, and consequently, we're now in our third different campaign. 2 of them are in the works right now that haven't even hit the numbers for September yet. But as Brett was saying, HVAC company I just signed, and we just put in for the pixel request for them, and then a furniture and fabric place just signed on. I just signed them on for 3 months yesterday. For a $750 a month campaign also. So we're getting this going. I'm much more comfortable with it. Brett's much more comfortable with it now. It's not so difficult as it first was thought since we got everything in place. And it's going to be reaching out to Scott or to Brett just to get that first one booked so everybody can see how it's done. It's just not that difficult, guys. And the effectiveness of this is amazing. Like I said, there's 2 more coming on right now, and I probably got 3 or 4 more waiting in the weeds right now that have all liked the campaign that we're going to start in the next 30 days. So the effectiveness, this is probably one of the most effective digital products that we have to offer that I found that the media buyers or the store owners are really responding to. As Brett was saying, I mean, the click-through, as you can see on some of these campaigns, you know, this last one that's up right now, there's 3 clicks, but this is the first week this thing is going. The first campaign, and what I would tell people, and I think I brought it up before, is I wouldn't divide them off into campaigns. If possible, I would just do one generic campaign or one product push per client. This complicated things a lot more than needed be, but this is per client request, and that's fine. But I mean, if you have to go here, go there. We can do it, but it takes a lot of the geo team out of the picture. It's literally through a company called Media Math that they're doing just impressions on the network, so to speak, and with all the people that have Googled the product. So it's very effective. I'm real positive about this. I think it's really going to improve as time goes on also, as far as the performance of the campaigns. If you can get a 3-month deal, that's what I also tell people, that Google recommends us doing this for 3 months. The campaigns will increase as time goes on. You can change creative each month if you want to with the clients. So they're all responsive and receptive to this also. So as we started this out, it's been working really good. I think everybody can see now that the amount of click-through rate is going to be a lot higher, just because it's only performing or it's only going out, the impressions are going out, just the people searching for the product. So obviously the conversion rates are going to be higher. Always use a conversion pixel. It'll help the clients that are digitally adept to kind of follow along a little bit better, as this battery guy is. So other than that, like I said, we got the procedures down now. You can honestly say, just like that email blast you guys were just talking about there, this is probably a good 2 to 3 week kickoff period. I really think it can get down into a 2-week thing as time goes on. So real positive. Media buyers are real positive for it. It's the latest in marketing, and it's hitting the people they need to right away, right when they're looking for it. And that's the effectiveness and the power of this kind of digital marketing.
Good job. Good job, guys. I just have to, high five both of you, simply just for the persistence and dedication. I think, one thing that we all have to realize is that digital space is changing so fast that it's even hard for companies to keep up with it, get everybody trained up to speed. And as frustrating as it can be, there are people across the country that are, very, in tune to this, and just people in Michigan weren't. So, I'm so proud of you guys, because we're going to, in the digital space, we're going to have to continue to do this, I think, and that's the expectation. And I love, kind of what Joanne said and Dean said, like setting that expectation. Had Dean and Joanne not had, high levels of communication with their clients, making sure they understood what the expectation of delivery would be, they probably would have, had a frustrated customer on the other end. But because you are communicating, giving realistic expectations, it's all going good. And we all know, once we get a campaign up and running, the results are fantastic. So, high five to everybody. I love the energy. I love what I'm seeing. Let's just keep this momentum going. I mean, there's so much out there, guys, and this is such a perfect time of year. I mean, summer's tough. I know June and July and August, just, gosh, it's like getting people to commit to this. Well, I hope everybody's looking at, this crisp weather this morning as a new run at this and really getting started. Let's have a great September. Get as many people on board, see as many people, because sales is a numbers game. And Dean, look he caught on to a competitor. He grabbed that proposal. He, went out and executed, and he's got 4 or 5 in his pipeline because of this because of this type of product. So, just embrace this, guys. It's a great time of year to really build it and really knock out the rest of this year. Let's all sell, 6-month contracts so you guys can get yourself set up digitally. So, nice job. Let's get this energy and momentum moving.
Okay. Well, just to kind of build off of that, Dean and Brett, great job too. And I can just say personally, I appreciate you guys kind of being the guinea pigs and getting that process going too, because now, we know sort of those steps to take. So thanks again for that work. We're going to open it up for any other questions. I know we're around 8:30 right now, so we can kind of wrap things up. But before we end, is there any questions, anything anyone wants to bring up or ask? And that's probably not, no, I guess not. Well, if you do have any questions, please feel free to email or Brett or I, we're definitely available to help. So once again, thanks for joining us this morning. Brett, anything you want to add before we close off?
No, I think everyone covered everything. Persistence is the key. There's times where things can get a little technical, a little challenging, but, as everything always works out in the end, and, just keep your focus on, the end goal, and it will happen. And, we're here to help you. Everyone's out there to help each other. And, we have a good team, especially with both of our teams working together and doing these sessions. We're there for everyone. And, so just reach out to anyone if you have any questions, especially about search retargeting or anything. You can feel free to reach out to Dean or I, and we'd be glad to answer any questions or concerns that you have. So I think with that, if no one has any questions, then we'll just see you guys in the next Coats of Paint.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a great morning. Enjoy this awesome weather. It feels like fall's in the air. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye, everyone.